Hi there, Fonnie Ravenwood here. It is September 19th, 2023, and this is kind of a video diary entry, I suppose. I wanted to have an actual video log of part of my journey and what I'm going through and things that God has shown me, but I don't believe I'll be releasing it just yet. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Maybe this will be the video I release today. I don't know. But the thing is that I really felt like I needed to share this crazy realization that God showed me today. So there's this passage in the Bible that talks about when, right before Jesus dies, he tells Peter that Peter's going to deny him 3 times. And Peter's like, no way, that's not going to happen. And Jesus is like, it's gonna. And then it happened. It actually happens. Peter denies him 3 times. Then when Jesus comes back, Jesus asks Peter on 3 separate occasions, Peter, do you love me? And Peter starts to get frustrated. He's like, Lord, you know I love you. Well, but when he's asking him, he's referring to him as Simon, which was his name before Christ changed it to Peter. So what this represents is how Christ was reestablishing Peter. And he was talking to him in the frame of who he was when he was first being established. So he was reestablishing him as his apostle and prophet. And so it was that 3 for 3. It was like it canceled it out, right? So God showed me that today. And then this he showed me. So earlier this year, I had actually gone to a detox facility to help me quit drinking and smoking marijuana. Technically, the only thing they took me in for was the alcohol. I couldn't actually talk about the marijuana. They wouldn't actually help me with that, which was interesting. But I have successfully not drank since St. Patty's Day this year. 3/17 was the last time that I had any alcohol, and for 84 days after that until June 9th, I was completely sober from everything. I didn't even smoke. That day, I had given in to smoking again because of some stresses and, whatever the excuses that I want to try to say that, try to sound like it justifies it. And maybe it does for a little while because there is a place for medication, and I was re-traumatized and trying to reestablish and relearn a lot of things. So I'm trying to have a little grace on myself with it as well. However, I've not been able to stop smoking again, medication or otherwise, and I've been wanting to, and I've been feeling God telling me I need to again, that this needs to be an absolute, like I need to be sober-minded. And so what's interesting is I happened to get curious, and I looked up how many days it had been since I started smoking again. And it has been today 103 days. Out of curiosity, I was like, well, if I was able to stay completely sober for the rest of this year, how many days would it be? And I looked it up, and no joke, 103 days left in the year. So I'm like, what? And then it was at that moment that God really showed me that verse and showed me how I had denied him and his power for 103 days. And now he's asking me that question, Fawn, calling me by my original name, not Fawn Eve, but calling me Fawn. I hear him saying, Fawn, but do you love me more? Do you love me more than this thing? If you do, take care of my people. And so that's what this is for me, is it's about this great exchange of surrendering all of my heart's desires, laying it all on the table, and saying, God, I want you more. God, I trust you and your design in my life, and I trust that you're going to help me through every situation, and I don't need to self-medicate. I don't need medication from doctors. I don't need any of that, and I want to be walking, living proof that you are the one that is healing me, that you are all that we need. And as I was going through healing trauma triggers and learning those things previously, I had healed a lot of things, and I had gone a really long time being sober-minded. And last year had gotten completely re-traumatized again in a way I had never been hurt before. And it's been quite a whirlwind, you know. I remember thinking even last year, wow, I wonder what happens to a mind that was traumatized and then traumatized again. And I do believe that sometimes there is a need for medication, but I do believe that that medication should have an end date. And I believe that that end date is today. And I believe that for the next 103 days, God is going to be asking me that question, Fawn, do you love me? And every day, I'm going to say yes. Yes, Adonai. Yes, my Lord. I love you more. I love you more than this thing. I completely surrender. I lay it all down. Because, you know, he's really shown me that there's only so much that you can say that you are being, that you are a new creation. It's more than just living it. It is a change of mind. It is a change of behavior. You can't just change your behavior and not change the mindset. Ephesians 4:3, 22 and 23 are incredible verses for this whole just concept, because in that verse in the King James Version, it says to put off the former conversation of the old man. So if we're caught up in a loop of not being able to let something go that we know God is telling us to let go, well, we need to look at what is the frame of mind that is leading us back to it. Like I think about what is, it's like he's asking me those questions. What is it that leads me to thinking that I need to self-medicate rather than seek him? What are the thought processes that are taking me to that? And how can I change those thought processes so that I actually put on the new man? And then in verse 23, it says, be renewed in the spirit of your mind. And that's how you do that. That's how you get renewed in the spirit of your mind. I know that these processes and these things that God has shown me works. I know that it works if you apply it, if you do it. And I don't want to be a false teacher. I don't want to be someone who claims that God can set you free and then yet still am held to my own depravities. There's a Bible verse about that, and those things weigh very heavily. I don't want to be a bad influence. I don't want someone to think, oh, this must be okay then. You know, early on in 2019, I remember watching a video from Joyce Meyer, and she talked about how when she had her first Bible study, she was sitting there with her Bible in her lap, a cigarette in one hand, and a beer in the other hand while she was giving her Bible study. And the thing that I got from that, especially lately, because God just kept saying, just do it, just do it, just jump out and do it, and I'll take care of things from there. And that's kind of what I felt like. It was like God can use us in our mess. God can use us, but we have to take that leap. We have to go and we have to do these things that maybe don't make sense, that maybe we don't feel qualified for, that maybe we feel like we're at a step for, and we have to trust that he is there with us through every bit of that process. And so I guess I kind of started to trail off a little bit there. This is getting a little bit longer than I thought, but I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience and my story there, and you know how this is a time that God is really asking us to take this serious. He is really wanting his people to walk the straight and narrow. And, you know, I'm no exception to that. Other people who are leaders in churches are no exception to that. And right now, God is really, really sifting out the sheep from the goats and that kind of thing, the wheat from the tares. And he says that this is a time right now to be serious about stripping away the old man and fully walking in that new man, no matter how hard it is. You know, some of the things I think about are like when he says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And then James 4:7, when he says to submit to God, resist the devil and he will flee. Well, you put those things together. I've been on my knees pleading with God, please help me not go do this thing again. And that was a moment when he showed me that that's what it looks like to take up your cross daily sometimes, that's what that looks like, to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And then he keeps taking me back to this dream that I had in 2011, where I was running and holding hands with someone, and there was this chaos and war going all around, and this person gets shot next to me, and we lose our grip, we break the grip. And then I walk over out in the middle of the war, and I drop to my knees and I start praying. And as I pray, this cloud, this whirlwind of a tornado starts to build around me. And there's just a slight gentle wind. And the thicker that the dirt gets, the less I hear all of the war around me. And lately, 12 years later, God is showing me that dream, what that dream means is that when we let go, and when you're holding hands in a dream, it means that you're agreeing. And so it was when I broke agreement and let go of that hand grip in my dream and surrendered myself, that he surrounded me, and all the chaos and the war quieted, and I was calm and protected in this bubble of him. And that's what he's calling us to do right now, is to break agreement, to let go of all of those things that have been holding us back, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how hard it seems like it is. That thing that he's been, and I know now I have to leave this. I just, like, he keeps telling me as I go, like, I have to post this video, so this will probably be the one I post for today. But and he's asking us to break agreement with those things, break agreement with the Leviathan spirit, the Jezebel spirit, break agreement with being a double agent. It is time to walk that narrow path. There are going to be people. It says that the elect will be deceived. It says that there will be many false teachers in the end. And we are held at such a higher accountability. So I am trying to be very, very careful that I don't want to be a bad influence. That's what I was saying before about the Joyce Meyer thing, is that I may have gotten started with this while God was still allowing me to have this medication in my life. But he's breaking me free from that as we go, just like the process that I know he's taken me on before. And he's telling me that now is that final step to finally let it go, that I don't need that anymore, that all I need is him. And I get to be that walking, living example for all of you as we go on, and you see that day by day as I get on here and I say, I'm still walking that narrow path. I'm still saying, Jesus, I choose you instead of this. I love you more. And the thing about it with the Joyce Meyer thing is that it's not that she wasn't a bad influence. She was inspirational to me in the sense of, no matter what is going on in your life, you feel God really telling you to do something, you've got to step out in it. You've got to start walking out and living the new life, to live in the new creation, walking out what that looks like, so that he can mold you and shape you. And that's where that mindset starts to change. And the closer you get to him, the more these things burn off, the more you want to live a purified life set apart for him, which I pray that all of you have the courage to do this week as well as Yom Kippur approaches. In Jesus' mighty name, goodbye.